So when we figured out all of the triads in major keys and minor keys, we were naming them fourth chord of whatever scale we're in, or second chord of. But what's really neat is that, let's say we're in C major, and I want to play the third chord in C major. Why am I using C major again? Because again, there's no black keys to deal with. It's a lot easier to visualize. So third chord in C major, 1, 2, 3. For those of you that want to know the name, it's called the mediant. So the mediant chord in C major is minor sounding. Now, it's actually wrong to call this E minor. Why? Because we're not in the key of E minor. We're not in the home of E minor. We're still in the home of C major. When we're in the home of that key, we have to call the other keys based on the home key. So if I'm in C major, that's called my mediant chord in C major, my third chord of C major. But if I want to call this E minor, then that means my home is E minor, and this is the first chord of E minor. And in that case, E minor has F sharps in the scale. How do I know? I've just memorized it over time. So when you go back and work on your lessons of using the formula to find major and minor scales, and then you start doing it by ear, then you'll just be able to plug those in and you'll start memorizing them as well. So a couple more examples where if you play one chord in a certain key, it could actually be a chord in many other keys as well. It's a really cool trick once you start playing around with that, because you can use that when you're composing music. And there's a neat thing called modulation, which means you start in one key and then you can finish in another key. So modulation is when you're starting to start in one home and then you leave that home and you go to a different home where there's totally different rules, different black keys, different sharps, different flats, that kind of thing. So I'm just going to play a triad on the keyboard and I'm going to figure out all the different keys that triad can be in. Okay, I'm going to play a major sounding triad and I'm starting on A. So I've got an A, C sharp, and E. So A, C sharp, E. Sounds major. Well, it could be the first chord of A major. What else could this be? Well, F sharp minor is the relative minor of A major. So this could actually be the 1, 2, 3, the third chord of F sharp minor. What else could this be? Well, I would have to figure out what keys have a C sharp in it. Now to go and try to figure this out using the formula, it'll take a little bit of time, so I'm just going to speed this up. And I've just memorized all of the different sharps and flats in each key. So what other keys have a C sharp in it? Well, I know D major does. D major has F sharp and C sharp in it. So if I were to play an A, a C, and an E in the key of D major, so I'm in D major's home right now, I have to follow the rules. All of my C's have to be sharp. It's like when you go to someone's home, you got to take off your shoes, and other people's home you don't have to. Some people's home you sit on the floor, maybe in Japan, to eat at the table, and some people's home you sit on a really high stool. in the key of D major, I know my C's have to be sharp. Otherwise, it just doesn't sound right. Okay, what other keys would have a C sharp in it, but not an A sharp or E sharp? Well, potentially E major. E major has 4 sharps, F, C, G, and D. So if I'm ever going to play an A, it's fine, it's just a white key. And if I'm going to play an E, it's also fine because, well, I'm in E major, so it's just a regular E. I didn't say E flat major, I didn't say E sharp, so my E's are just E. But my C's have to be sharp, so this chord would be the 1, 2, 3, 4th chord of E major. And the proper name for that is the subdominant chord of E major. So as you can see, when you're naming your chords, it's very important to know where the home is. The home is what sets the rules, and every home has a different set of rules. How do we find those rules? Well, there's 2 ways that we did it. Major keys set the rules. Minors are almost like the guest house of that home. So if you're in the key of C major, the rules of C major are you only play white keys. When you go to the guest house of C major, which happens to be A minor, because let's say it's 6 steps away, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then A minor follows the rules of C major, which also are no black keys. So using our formula of skip, skip, step, skip, 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 step, or no skip, that's how we figure out which black keys are going to be in the major scale. And it doesn't matter whether you're starting on a white key or you're trying to figure it out on a black key, you still have to do that skip, skip, no skip, 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 no skip formula to figure it out. And then when you find the 6th degree of that scale, you will get the minor, the relative minor we call it.